Okay, so the first thing that you have to know whenever you're trying to know something about core HCM is organizations. Okay, based on these organizations, whenever you create any kind of compensation eligibility rules, you will be defining that rule, whether this compensation package or this compensation plan or grade have to be restricted to only this organization or people from this organization. So you have to know what is this organization, and how it is actually create, how it is actually viewed in Workday. All this, since you're actually end user of Workday, I think you should be able to know, since you'll be part of organization hierarchy, you'll be able to understand this. So now, to know something about organization, we have a first term called supervisory organization. Okay, I know you'll be a member of this supervisory organization in your current Workday system, reporting to your manager, and your manager will be managing the supervisory organization, where you are a member of that supervisory organization. Okay, supervisory organization is nothing but which groups members into hierarchy, which groups all the employees into hierarchy, and enable employees to be part of organization hierarchy. So if you see Workday system, so I'll show you one example of supervisory organization. So you're seeing one of the organization called Workday HR Information System, where Melissa Hartman is a manager of the supervisor organization, under which you're seeing Anthony Robert and Josh Andrew are members of this organization. Okay, it's getting refreshed. Okay. You're seeing Anthony Robert and Josh Andrew are members of the supervisor organization, and Melissa, who is actually managing the supervisor organization. So one thing that you need to remember here is, since Melissa is actually managing the supervisor organization, Melissa will not be member of this supervisor organization. Melissa is just a kind of manager for the supervisor organization, where people who will be reporting to her will be members of the supervisor organization. Okay, so you can relate it to your org structure which you are part of it. So you will be reporting to one of the manager, and you will be member of the organization where your manager is managing that organization. So one important thing that you need to remember is, managers will never be the member of the organization that they are managing. Okay, manager will be member of the organization where they are reporting to. So now you are reporting to your manager, you are a member of the manager that she's or your manager is organizing, and your manager will be member of the organization to whom they are reporting actually. So wherever your manager is reporting to their manager, your manager will be a member of that particular organization. So top level organization, your manager's manager will be there, right? So they'll be managing one organization, and your manager will be part of that organization. So the thing that you need to remember is,
Yeah, I was going to say a follow-up question on that, but I have seen in the orgs what happens. Someone say Melissa had 3 members, for example, just making it up, right?
Yeah.
And say the third person, let's say Mudit, right? And Mudit left the company, right?
Okay.
Then what I have seen in place of Mudit, she will put for the time being Melissa only. She can do that,
Okay. So
right?
that scenario is, let's say Mudit is a kind of manager. Okay, if Mudit is a manager, and there are certain team members reporting to Mudit. Okay, and when Mudit terminates from the organization, there are certain team members, okay, who are actually reporting to Mudit. So now, in order to replace that Mudit's position, and for time being, in order to have those team members to report to who are actually reporting to Mudit, so what configurator will be doing for time being, Melissa will be a kind of member. Melissa will be the manager of that organization. organization where Mudit was managing, and all the team members who are actually reporting to Mudit will be reporting to Melissa for time being. And after some particular point of time, if someone getting hired in the place of Mudit, she will again go to the top level hierarchy, and that person will be replaced in your position, and all the team members who were actually reporting to you and Melissa after your termination, they'll again report to that person, and that person will be reporting to Melissa.
Okay. Yeah.
That's how organization structure will be built actually. So if you are actually manager, for every manager will be creating a supervisor organization, not like here you are seeing Andrew. So Andrew is a kind of individual contributor. There are no team members reporting to this person, and similarly Josh Andrew, there are no team members reporting to this person, but still there are members of this organization who are actually reporting to Melissa. Now if you see here, there is a Workday security team, so which is actually another organization under Melissa. Okay. So now if I go to this security, there are no members, but Melissa will be managing one more organization called Workday Security. If there are any people who are working in Workday Security, they will be reporting to Melissa. So like that, a member can be managing any kind of any number of supervisor organization which will be getting inherited. So inherited is nothing but whatever supervisory organization, the top level organization will be holding, like have you heard anything called staffing model?
Yeah, one is
Yeah.
position based, another is job
Yes.
based, right?
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, these staffing models will get inherited from superior organization. Okay. So when Melissa wanted to have one more team that she wanted to manage, named Workday Security, there will be one more organization created where she'll be managing that, and the people who are working on security team will be reporting to her. So when she creates Workday reporting under Workday HRIS, the supervisor organization, Workday security supervisor organization will be a kind of subordinate organization. When subordinate organization is created under any superior organization, all the things, there are certain things like will get inherited, like staffing model will get inherited, location will get inherited, and org assignments. Org assignments are nothing but a company and a cost center will be getting inherited. To give brief about company and cost center is nothing but which is used to track expenses and revenues that are happening in the supervisor organization. Let's say you are managing one of the supervisor organization, and you have 3 to 4 members reporting to you, and let's say Workday compensation is your organization name. Okay, so now you have all compensation analysts reporting to you. So now if there is any kind of bonus that you are paying to these 3 members, if there is any kind of annual salary review process, as part of annual review process their compensation is getting increased, and if there is any kind of spot bonus that you are actually releasing to these team members who are reporting to you, all these finance related things, all these anything related to expenses, budgets will be tracked through cost center. Okay, so cost center is nothing but which is used to track revenues, expenses, and any kind of financial related things. All these things can be tracked through cost center. What is the expense that they got during this period, what is the revision, compensation revision they got during this period, all these things you will be tracked through cost center. So cost center is generally used by finance team to track all the expenses and revenues and all. So you'll be assigning that cost center to the supervisory organization, so that whatever expenses that this organization is undergoing, whatever expenses that this organization is making, so all those things will be tracked through this cost center. Okay, and similarly, company is nothing but, let's say you're working in the US. Okay, and now your company is extending its locations to another countries like India, Australia, Canada, and all. So you'll not have any other organization built in India under the same company in US. There has to be a separate company in India also. Like let's say example, Google is there. Okay, Google is located in US. Now Google has its operations in India and all other countries. Now there has to be a different company has to be created for India, like Google India, Google Australia. So there is a different company has to be created, and all the employees of India has to be under that company. Any organization that are getting created in India has to be under that company. Okay, so whenever you're creating a supervisory organization, a company has to be mandatory. It's not a required field, but it says that this organization is under this company. This organization has employees who are under this company. A kind of underlying meaning it will give. So if you're not giving any company, it automatically takes inheritance actually. So from superior organization, whatever company is there, whatever cost center is there, it automatically gets inherited to subordinate organization. Let's say if we go to Melissa's organization now. So Melissa has a company called Workday USA, and Workday HRIS is a cost center. Now, if you go to any of the subordinate organization who are actually under Melissa's supervisor organization, if you go take any of the organization, let's say take a reporting supervisor organization. Now, go to org assignments, you will see this company and cost center has got inherited from Melissa's organization. Okay, whatever company and cost center are defined at the superior organization, at top level organization, will be getting inherited to all downstream subordinate organization. And if you don't want it to have that kind of inheritance to be applied to the subordinate organization that you're creating, you just need to edit that supervisor organization and give your company and cost center that you wanted to have. Let's say example, now we take Google as an example. Okay, so Google is currently in US, and now it is extending its location to India country. Now once it has extended to India country, there will be a separate company created for India, separate cost center created for India for Google. Okay, so now I'll be the kind of manager who will be joining Google India. So now the separate supervisory organization has to be created for me, reporting to my manager will be in US. Okay, let's say you are my manager. Okay, you are actually part of US company. Okay, now you are building your team in India. Now I'm one of the person who is joining in India company, reporting to you, and I'll be member of your supervisor organization, but my company and my cost center will be different. Okay, because I'm not part of yes, if I'm actually my salary, my bonus, whatever I'm getting paid are tracked through India company and India cost center. Okay, that is the reason why there is a different company that has been created in India and different cost center that has been created in India, where I'll be member of that India company and India cost center, but I'll be reporting to you. I'll be reporting to you, and whatever the hierarchy that I'll be having, I'll be under your supervisory organization, but my company and my cost center will be different. The reason is because I'm in a different country. Okay, each different
Yeah.
country should have a different legal entity. Okay,
Okay.
so that's a kind of compliance issue if you're not following any kind of legal entity policy and all. So HR compliance issue will be there. Each different country we should have a separate legal entity and separate cost center. All the finance related things that are happening for that particular country should undergo with a separate legal entity and a different cost center, which is used to track revenues and expenses that are happening to that. So that's how we know organization hierarchies will be built, and different companies and cost center will be assigned to that.
Mhm.
If you're not giving any company and any cost center, automatically by default that will be getting inherited from your superior organization to your subordinate organization. That's how we know
Okay.
organization hierarchy actually follows. So
Okay.
now
And in
you
order
need
to
to
assign, sorry, in order to
yeah.
assign, we just click those three dots next to the name and
Yes.
we can edit.
Yeah, if you wanted to
Okay.
assign any kind of if you wanted to break the inheritance policy, if you don't wanted to have that to be inherited to your company that you're creating in India, that organization that you're creating in India or any other country, you need to edit the supervisory organization. You need to change the company and
Okay.
cost center here.
Got it. And how to create a new cost center, supposingly it's not on the list.
Yes, it's everything is the task related. Whatever
Ah,
you wanted to create anything, create cost center is a task.
okay.
So you'll be seeing a cost center task, and you'll be seeing cost center hierarchy, and similarly company also. You'll
Okay.
be creating company. You'll be
Mm-hmm.
creating company in company hierarchy with this task, and once you have this ready and you have let's say brand, you're actually getting into Workday newly, and you wanted to build complete hierarchy. Okay, you wanted to build complete org hierarchy system. Now what you'll do, you need to first have a company hierarchy and company ready. And once you have company hierarchy cost center ready, you'll be creating a supervisory organization. You'll be creating a supervisory organization, and you'll be assigning your company and your cost center to this organization. So for any organization that you're creating, be it supervisor organization, be it cost center, be it company, all these are organizations types. Okay, so if you're creating any of the organization, there is a prerequisite for you to create or to select reorganization event. So whatever you're seeing here, this is actually a prerequisite, and it is actually required for you to have your reorganization event selected for any of the organization that you're creating. So the purpose of this reorganization is to track any of the changes that are happening to the organization, to track any of the additions or removals or any kind of updates happening to the organization. This reorganization event will be tracking those changes, and whenever you wanted to view the changes, view all the changes that are happened through this reorganization event through reporting, you should be able to know that. Let's say now I've created one organization last year. Now I wanted to change the name of the organization, or I wanted to change the company of the organization, and change the cost center of the organization. So you'll be editing that and you'll be making that, and tomorrow I'll be again making the changes, and after I'll be again making changes. A lot of changes are happening in the organization. But if you wanted to track what are all the changes that are happened to this organization, can be tracked through reorganization event. So you'll be just whenever you're reporting, you'll just give your reorganization event. Then you'll get to know under this reorganization event what are all the changes happen to your organization. You'll be able to know that one. So the purpose of this reorganization event is it's a bucket or a container which is helpful for you to track the changes or updates or additions or removals happen for the supervisor organization. So will be so whenever you are creating a supervisory organization in your organization, there will be already one reorganization event that is created, and you need to choose the reorganization event whenever you're creating a supervisory organization. So probably any of HR team who is actually creating supervisory organization, they would have already created one reorganization event, and whenever they're creating a new supervisory organization, they'll be selecting that reorganization event and will be creating any of the organization that they wanted to. So
Okay,
now
question.
yeah.
Question. I would say if I have to make a tweak to a organization, right, I can also,
Mhm.
do I have to use the reorganization event? I can just edit directly.
Yes, if you wanted to edit any of the supervisor organization, system will ask you to select the reorganization event and
Okay.
make the changes actually, because the change has to be tracked, right? So in order to track the changes that are happening to the organization, you need to actually give that reorganization event under which you wanted to track these changes.
Okay.
Basically, one
Right.
unique reorganization event will be maintained in the organization. Your let's say your Workday team, your Workday HR team, will be maintaining one unique reorganization event for all the organization that they are creating, for all the organization they are actually updating. All these things, will be done through one unique reorganization event that they will be maintaining.
Okay. And what is the report name through which you can see the audit, or how do you
Um,
see?
so we actually create a report. Actually, we will be creating a report, and we'll be creating a report with all the fields like supervisor, organization, reorganization, event, everything. We'll be creating a report. We'll be creating a report and we'll be running the report. If there are delivered reports, you can use them. If there are no delivered reports, we'll be creating a report. Okay,
Okay.
under all supervisor organization. So, do you know anything about reporting concepts like data sources, business objects, and all?
Yeah, I know
Have
the
you heard?
basics. Yes.
Okay, so we'll be you'll be selecting that particular data source. Let me create.
And is there a place where Workday data models are basically provided, even on Workday community? Are you aware?
Data models is nothing but a business object. Workday, all the data that stores in Workday is in the form of business object. Okay.
Yes.
So if you wanted to know all the business objects that are available in Workday, there is a very standard report called business object. Business object is the detailed report, is standard report that you have, which will give you, or if you're not aware of any of the business object that you wanted to look, what you can do is you can just on the search bar, data sources.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be getting a standard report that Workday reporting concept. If you're not aware of any of the data source that you wanted to create or any of the business object that is holding this data source, if you're not aware, this report will return all the data sources under which the business object that it will be. Those data sources will be under that business object. You'll be seeing all those business object and data sources available in Workday. Okay, see around 2,379 data sources are available, under which you see primary business object will be holding all these data sources.
Okay, okay. The reason I ask is supposingly like when I go into a company, right?
Mm-hmm.
Workday is already implemented there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
every company they implement it based on their use case, right?
Yeah.
So what would be
Yeah.
the best way for me to understand the data models or understand how it is implemented? Because there is no knowledge transfer.
Okay.
Nobody can.
Okay.
So I have to figure out
Okay.
on my own how it's implemented.
Okay, so the data models, having data under a business object that customer will be doing, but they have to use the business object and the data sources that Workday has provided. They cannot
Uh-huh,
create any data source, or they cannot create any business object, but they can
uh-huh,
create fields. They can create reports under this business object. Let's say now I wanted to, track. I wanted to report 1094, about 1095 and 1094, right? Where we'll be sending these forms to government agencies to track US employment things and all. So
uh-huh.
if I wanted to report on 1094 and 1095, I'll be creating a report under this business object, under this data source with the different fields. Now if you wanted to know all the reports that are created in your company, okay, with the different data sources, with the different business
Yeah,
object, there is a task called all custom reports.
yeah. Okay.
So this is actually a standard report which will return all the reports that are created in your organization, and you should be able to view all those reports. If you won't give anything, it will return all these things. But if you wanted to give any report name, report owner that you wanted to specifically
Yeah.
look for, you can give. If you don't give anything, it will return all the reports that are available by different persons created with all the report types. You can see around
Uh-huh.
6,788 reports are created. You can see what are all the report types, what data sources that they have used, and who is the owner of that report. And you can also see the underlying field definitions that are configured for this report.
Okay. And same thing if I want to, and I know I'm going away from the topic, but just
Hmm.
in case if I want to know that Workday system has, say, benefits provider, right? It has many
Hmm.
integrations, right?
Yes.
How do I
Yes.
know that what are the integrations in place?
So basically, there is we can also create a report for that one. But you need to know generally, for every integration that the integration the resource will be creating is they'll be following a kind of different naming convention for benefit related integrations. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so now just to identify the integrations that are related to benefits,
Or say any integrations. How do I find out what are the integrations in place with my Workday
INTSys
instance?
Ben. So INTSys is a kind of prefix, that will be used to identify the integration that are there in the system. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So now if I access this task, you should be able to see all the integrations that are created with this name actually. Benefit connector, benefit individual rate load, benefit connector. So like that, you should be able to find all the integrations that are created for benefits, vendor or provider with specific to benefits data.
Okay. Okay.
She should be able to, because every integration should be followed with standard naming convention. If you're creating for benefits, you'll be giving benefits. If you're creating anything related to payroll, you'll be giving something related to payroll. All those standard
Yeah.
naming convention will be maintained, so you can view all the benefit related integrations with the kind of prefix int colon benefits. Or if you are aware of actually integration name, you can give integration name as well. But
Okay.
if you don't know
If I,
anything, yeah.
yeah. I was going to, if I like just type int sys colon, will it return? Because I think the Workday, since they deployed long back, I don't think they have an naming convention in place.
Okay, so if you wanted to get that, probably you'll be getting a lot of things that are not related to. If you
Mm,
access something called entities, there are a lot of integration that will be there. You'll be getting all those integrations. Now if
mm,
you don't want it to go in this way, and if you wanted to know the proper integration that are created for each module, you can
mm.
create a report. Actually, you can create a
Okay.
report, and there is a data source called all integration systems. You can take that data source, which will provide you all the integrations that are created in Workday, and you can do filters. Okay, you can
Mm,
do filters if you know any of the person who are actually which integration is sending to benefit connect benefit endpoint, like Blue Cross Blue Shield is there, right? So if you wanted to know what are the integration that are sending data to Blue Cross Blue Shield, so you'll be filtering that. Endpoint should be a kind of Blue Cross Blue Shield, and once you run the report, what are all the integration that are built sending data to Blue Cross Blue Shield will be filtered, and it will be returned for you.
okay.
That's how you typically play around with this one. Okay, so for example, let's say now there is integrations that are actually scheduled, which are running automatically based on the schedule. Now benefits integration would also be automated, and every day they will be running. And
Mm,
if you wanted to know all those integrations which are scheduled and which are running, actually there's a
yeah.
task called scheduled feature process.
Mm,
So this will return all the integration that are scheduled. Actually, I'll
okay.
give process as integration. So this will return all the integration that are scheduled,
Okay.
so that you'll know what are the integrations are scheduled and when they are running, what time they are triggering. That kind of, let's say now we have something called let's take one sample integration, this one. Okay, so now if you go to this integration process, you'll get to know when this is scheduled. Actually, when this
Mm,
is scheduled, so when this is scheduled and what time this is running, everything you'll be able to get this information, and so that you'll be able to. There are definitely there are notifications that will be configured for each integrations, and notifications will be sent to all recipients who are actually intended to get that notification. So that notification says that integration has completed successfully, or integration has failed, integration has completed with warnings. All this kind of the notifications that you will be getting based on whenever a developer is building the integration, they'll be configuring a notification to that one. So if you are
mm,
part of that notification list, you'll be getting a notification that this integration has completed successfully. If it is failed, you'll be getting a notification that this integration has failed, kind of things you'll be getting.
okay.
Yeah, so that is about. And also you have a task called a process monitor. So process monitor is nothing but which allows you to see the status of the integration. If you're aware of any of the integration, that is actually running currently, and if you wanted to know the status of that integration, whether it is completed or failed or anything, you can go to process monitor. You can see whether this integration has completed, the status here. You should be able to find the status, and if it is not completed or failed, you will see the failure reason, not run due to exceptions on feature process. So this kind of status that you will be seeing. So the process monitor is a one task where you will be able to find the status of this integration. Let's say
Okay.
now if this is not completed, now you see the errors and warning here. You'll see what is the error if you're actually monitoring this integration, and probably you'll find this error, and probably you'll pass on this information to developer. Hey, this integration has failed for some reason, and I've identified this is the error and the warnings. Can you please look into this and fix this one? So you'll
Yeah.
be actually informing developers for this reason, so that they'll take care of this thing. Even they'll be getting a kind of notification, but in case as a kind of proactive message, probably you'll be actually looking at this process monitor and see that integration has completed or failed. You'll get to know that information, and you'll be sharing that error message and warning message, whatever you're seeing, will with the relevant team, and they'll be taking care of data errors or any kind of fix that has to be done. They'll be taking care of that one.
Oh.
So that is about this thing. Okay, now we were talking something on organizations, right? So yeah, basically, it groups actually members into supervisory organization and makes members to be part of that organization hierarchy. So now, once you have the organization, and you'll be having people under that organization. Before you get people to that organization, what you have to do, you have to create a position actually. So without position, based on staffing model, if you are actually going with position management staffing model, you have to create a position, and under that position you have to hire a candidate. If you are creating a position, there has to be a job profile also created, which you are actually asking. So job profile, job code you are asking, right? So for position, there has to be a job profile created. So now we'll try to create one sample job profile and see how it looks like. From when you wanted to have this job profile effective, we'll create this.
One more question I have on that, right? Sometimes
Mhm.
we get a request that create a job profile, but with a backdated effective date.
You can create.
Okay.
You can create, no problem. You can create.
Mm-hmm.
I've taken backdated only. I've taken 30. I can also take 25. You can create, so that from that date, your job profile, whatever you are creating, will be become effective. So if you wanted to have job code to be included in name, automatically you'll be getting that job code to be populated. So there are certain management levels that we have, every organization will be maintaining. So what job level that this compensation analyst should have, you'll be providing that one. I don't think this tenant has any kind of job levels. Okay. Job level, you'll be having job grade for every job, right? You'll be mentioning that job level here. And before, if you wanted to have your job profile, basically job family group, job family, and job profile, these are actually interlinked. Okay, so all job family will be holding a job profile, and job family group will be holding job family. Okay, so job job family will be part of job family group, and job profile will be part of job family. So whenever you're actually reporting, if you're actually if you wanted to return all the job profiles under one job family, you can get that one, or all the job families under job family group. If you wanted to report, you can do that one. So if you're actually creating a job profile, it has to be under job family, and job family has to be under job family group.
Okay, so one example if we take, we just created compensation analyst, right?
Yes.
So job
Yeah.
profile can be compensation analyst.
Yes, job
Job
profile can be
family,
compensation list.
job family will be, let's say, HR or not, or
Something
what?
related to comp team.
Comp team, and then
Comp.
family group will become HR, okay?
Yeah, so different, for compensation and HR would be different, but yeah, it depends upon organization. If they wanted to have comp insights job family to be under HR, they can. But if they wanted to maintain any kind of different job family group, so that everything related to compensation will be under job family group. If they wanted to maintain that kind of job profiles and job families, they can create.
Okay, so is it fair to say that is superset and this is subset?
Yeah, job family will be subset of job family group, and job profile will be subset of job family.
Okay, got it.
So here job family group would be compensation. Under a compensation, I have a job family called comp insights. Under job family comp insights, I have a comp analyst, comp specialist,
Hmm.
anything related. If you wanted to have any kind of job profile, so you can create under job insights, you can create that. So basically, job family will be holding all job profiles, and job family group will be holding all job families.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So now here you will be getting something related to compensation. Okay, if you wanted to have anything to be mentioned, any specific compensation grade that this job profile has to be eligible for. So for each job profile, there will be a different compensation grade. Grade is nothing but which define ranges of that position. Okay, let's say if compensation analyst job profile you're creating, and comp grade, if you're creating, the compensation grade should be between 10 lakhs to 20 lakhs. Okay, so when you're actually recruiting any person with this job profile, the compensation should be between 10 lakhs and 20 lakhs, should not be below 10 lakhs and should not be above 20 lakhs. So you'll be mentioning that kind of grade profile. You'll be creating those grade profiles, and you'll be calling those grade profiles here. For now, I'll just take sample any of the existing grade. So I've taken one compensation grade that is specific for this per job profile.
Okay, so sorry, one follow-up question on that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How is comp grade and comp grade profile related?
Comp grade profile is nothing but where you'll specify the actual locations that has undergo for that the grade. Okay, compensation grade, you'll specify the pay range. But if you wanted to restrict that pay range to any of the local country, let's say for
Okay,
Australia, this compensation grade has to be eligible, and for India, this compensation grade has to be eligible. All the localizations you'll be making in compensation grade profile.
okay, got it. Thank you.
So whenever you are creating a compensation grade, there will be a checkbox called you wanted to enable compensation grade profile, this compensation for this compensation grade. If you are enabling that checkbox, when you get into that compensation grade, you'll also see one more tab called compensation grade profile, where you can mention all the localizations. So all these things we'll be creating tomorrow. So in our
Okay.
tomorrow compensation regular session, we'll be actually creating grades, grade profiles, packages, eligibility rules, plans, everything, we'll be selecting. We'll be
Hmm.
creating actually.
Yeah, and Amit, I think it will be also just a follow-up. If after every class, if you give me some like assignment,
Hmm.
right? Because I have free instant, I like to go and create so that when I do hands-on, then I will have
Yeah.
more questions. Okay.
Yeah, since today is kind of overall things, probably today you'll not be seeing any activities, but just
Okay.
kind of overview session which covers very basic things, before we get on to actual tenant. So tomorrow, we'll performing some kind of core configurations related to configure compensation and all. So probably I may ask you, to create compensation grade profile, or I'll be going through complete flow. So what has to be created first and how eligibility rule has to be created. I'll be picking up some organizations and we'll be building one kind of compensation package. Finally, we'll be building one compensation package which should be eligible for some organization, and some team members will be making that one. So probably I may ask you a kind of similar kind of activity to
Okay.
perform.
Okay. Okay. And lastly, here you have impacted eligibility rules as empty, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when do you create or define eligibility rules?
Yeah, for this one, since we have not created for this compensation grade and production manager profile, there is no eligibility rule created. That's the reason why it is not showing up. But
Okay.
whenever you are creating any kind of compensation grade and compensation grade profile, so there is a option called eligibility rule. If you wanted to make this compensation grade or compensation grade profile to be restricted to only this organization, or to be restricted to people who are from different country, or who are from specific country, if you wanted to give that eligibility criteria for that compensation grade and profile, you'll be defining eligibility rule. So
Yeah.
saying that this is the compensation grade should be applicable only for this country, or this is the compensation grade should be applicable only for this supervisory organization, or this is the compensation grade should be available only for executive leadership team organization. So such
Yeah.
kind of eligibility criteria that you will be mentioning whenever you're creating grades, grade profiles. Probably we'll be creating a lot of eligibility rules in our tomorrow session. You'll get to
Mhm.
know the what kind of criteria that we are actually maintaining.
Yeah, this couple of criteria what I have seen is like for this particular grade,
Hmm.
eligibility rule is that this comp grade can get only like bonus
Yes.
between 10 and 15%, right?
Yeah, you
Then
can
you can
specify
earn
all those
other.
things.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
So you can specify any specific the kind of bonus plan, or salary plan, or alliance plan. If you wanted to restrict only for this organization or this group, you can do that one.
okay.
That's how we'll actually specify the job profile. And union membership is completely based on organization requirement. If there are any kind of union codes that you wanted to, I'll just give it is not allowed, because
Mhm.
I don't know what kind of unions that are configured in this tenant. But yeah, so once I have everything here, you'll be providing all the job description, for what compensation analyst will be performing, and summary details, and what are all the roles and responsibilities that compensation analyst will be performing. All those things will be you'll be providing here. And once you click on this one, this job profile can be taken forward with position, and you see here job code has generated. So you see the compensation analyst with this job code can be tracked whenever you're creating a position, or whenever you're actually assigning this position to job requisition for hiring purposes. You can use this job code and get employee hired.
Mhm. Okay.
That's how typically see. This is what you were asking. I wanted to know how job code generates and all. So whenever
Yeah.
you create a job code, job profile, automatically job code will be generated. Since
Mhm.
we have checked the checkbox, as we wanted to have job code to be populated, we have checked the checkbox, and you can use this job profile in any of the position that you wanted to create. Let's say if I'll go for create position now.
So there are while you're doing it, there are two staffing model. One is position based.
Yeah,
The second
the other
is,
one is job management. Okay, so whenever you wanted to hire an employee under position, whenever you have an organization that you wanted to perform hiring by having a position, you need to go with the position management staffing model. If you're going with position management, there has to be a position available before you hire an employee.
yeah.
Without position, you cannot hire an employee when you are in position management staffing model. Similarly, for job management, there is no position required actually, but certain job restrictions, job hiring restrictions, like if the candidate is meeting roles and responsibilities defined for that position, or any kind of skill set, any kind of experience that candidate is meeting, you can hire an employee under job management without any position in that organization. But this is maintained only for the organization that they are going with a very wide job requirements. Most of the organizations, most of the companies, whenever they are building a supervisory organization, they'll go with position management because they wanted to have an employee or a candidate hired into the organization through position actually.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever they wanted to go with position, position management has to be there. Hardly I can say, 5% of customers are actually going with the job management staffing model without having any positions. If a candidate is meeting jobs and responsibility expectations, they'll go with that one. Or else, the most of the customers, 90 to 99% of customers, are going with position management staffing model where they wanted to hire an employee through position creation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So now I've created job profile. In order to attach that job profile to the position, I need to create a position. Okay, you cannot create a position without having any kind of job profiles. So you'll be specifying under which organization that you wanted to create a position. So since I have organization that I've already created, I'm choosing that one. But if there is any specific organization related to compensation team, so you can create supervisor organization for compensation team, and you can attach the job profile. New position. I'll be creating one position and we'll be specifying the job profile that we have created here. What is the job profile? We'll be specifying the job profile, and you can fill all these things, whether you wanted to have full-time or part-time or worker type contract or an employee. You can specify all those things. And if there is any criteria, if this role whatever you're hiring is a critical job, and if it is difficult to hire, just to keep recruiter alert whenever they are going to market to hire this employee. Okay, this is not getting selected. Okay, so you'll be specifying these things so that recruiter will be aware when they're actually looking for an employee, to do some more research, when they're actually hiring an employee. So now when you submit this one, here position will be created. Okay, there are certain mandatory things we have not provided here. I'm giving hide data yesterday. So now I've created a position. So if I go to that particular organization under which I've created this position, you see in the staffing, if you go, there are multiple positions under which you see compensation specialist will be kind of a position to be hired. If employee is getting hired under this position with Melissa's organization, that employee will be part of Melissa's organization. Once employee hiring is completed, that employee will be becoming a member of Melissa's organization. Okay, that's how that member will be that hiring. Once the hiring activity is completed, the person will be in the list of members once the hiring is completed. But currently the hiring is not completed. That person is under staffing. The staffing is nothing but which populates all the future members of the organization. Okay, for now, I've taken one sample, organization, and I've created this one. But generally, you'll create you'll assign this job profile to the organization which holds something related to compensation. All the compensation related members will be under one organization. To that organization, I should be able to assign this position actually, so that whenever you are hiring, the position will be considered and hiring activity performs actually.
Okay.
Okay, that's how we typically play around with supervisory organizations, create supervisory organization, have a position created under that one, hire an employee into that position, and then track from there. Your employee will be part of supervisory organization and will be a member of Workday organization structure actually.
Okay.
Okay, so this is how we'll be typically following hiring process in core HCM and relate job profile and compensation grade when you're actually hiring any candidate actually.
Okay.
So this is kind of high level I can say, but tomorrow we'll be actually getting into a core regular compensation configurations. We'll be seeing how a job profile, comp profile, comp grade profile, compensation package, all these things we'll be creating, and we'll be seeing how each one is associated to the other one, and we'll be seeing the compensation flow. So what is the flow that has to be maintained? We'll be knowing that one in our tomorrow session.
Okay. Sounds good.